Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in with us. I really look forward to connect with all of you at our social conference, which is primarily focused on cognitive bias. What is this cognitive bias? It's all about how we think, how we make decisions, what values or assumptions, beliefs we have, all are rooted to our biases. So some biases might be helping us, some may not. So this intention of this conference is to create more awareness about these biases and who can be a better person than a coach or a coach supervisor who could ignite you on this topic. And that's why we have today another wonderful coach, Kerry, connecting from Canada. I mean, she's originally from Canada, but I don't know whether today she's connecting from Canada. And this is me, Anushly, your coach and coach developer, gratefully holding this space to create more awareness and introduce our upcoming speaker. Yes, over to you, Kerry. And I like to start this conversation with who is Kerry and what has been her, so meaningful about her journey of becoming a coach and so on and so forth.
Thanks, Anushly. And it's always good to be in your space and very happy to be with your people on this journey and into exploring cognitive bias in our lives as leaders and as, in all of our roles in life. Yeah, so one of my roles is, became a coach in 2004, which seems like a lifetime ago now. And
it's like,
it really was.
It
right?
looks like you're going to celebrate anniversary next year, that means.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about that. Well, how many years? That's like scary, right?
Yeah.
So, and I think really, becoming a coach, that journey started way before that, as we all know, like as children. And as a child, I loved to imagine, the future. So I was always imagining the future and what might be possible and quite dreamy. And then became an athlete. And again, that was future projected as well. What's happening in my mind that can support my body. And, noticing how some of us as athletes would progress and grow and others, how they get over challenges. And often it was up here. We used to say it was up here, but it's also, I believe, the heart and the gut as well. So then becoming a coach and working initially with individuals, I just loved having that time to be able to explore together with other human beings how the world works, or doesn't work at times. And then what really made it very meaningful, I like working one-on-one, and I've really at the moment actually in quite a one-on-one space, really enjoying working one-on-one with coaches as a supervisor as well. But I actually expanded it to team coaching in 2008, and that really took me back to sort of my work in Tanzania in forestry. I'm looking at your background with your trees on there today, where I was working in community and with different systems. And again, just that sort of magic of bringing the co-creativity that happens when we actually stop and pause and have a look at where are we, what's getting in the way, what are the stories we're making up, where do we want to go, how can we support each other, how can we challenge each other. And I don't know, I keep doing this, it just feels like a rich tapestry when we can actually pause. There's a quote, as soon as I say quote I'll get it wrong, but see if the unexamined life is not worth living. So is this quote, I think it's anonymous, I don't know where it comes from, but the unexamined life is not worth living. And for me, the magic and the color and the vividness comes when we do examine, we explore, we pause, we see what's here in the now, we reflect back on what's happened and what that means for now, and also look forward. So that just feels like what I'm here in the world to do. It feels like play.
Yeah, I really love how you entered the play. And while you were talking, I was thinking of these trees in the background because you also spoke about the forest and everything. Like the trees never project on each other, right? They just be who they are. But we human beings, we try to project ourselves, our thoughts, our beliefs on each other. And I think I'd like to introduce this cognitive bias to the audience about, I'm sure you might be already knowing or have, articulated that in different language, not necessarily as projection, but you would have seen that some people trying to project their own belief on someone else. Recently, I had a kind of a, coaching session where one of the client was saying that this is okay to do because this is what I think is right. And he was trying to implement the same thing on his family member also, which was not okay for the other member, which was not acceptable by the other member. And this brings me to the question to Kerry, asking about projection. Have you ever experienced this projection cognitive bias as a leader, as an entrepreneur, as a mother, or as a coach? Anywhere that you would like to share a few wisdoms on that? What has been your experience?
Yeah, I'm really playing with this with myself at the moment, like in many venues, like with myself as a business leader, with myself as a coach and as a supervisor, and yeah, as a parenting. I know that Anushly, it's the biggest leadership, learning ever to be with our children as well. And so where I've been playing with it personally recently, like quite often get a bit surprised when I actually feel like, oh, somebody's seeing me in a particular way. And while it can be flattering, and sometimes not so flattering, of course, but I tend to hear, we tend to hear the flattering ones more. I'd be feeling like, whoa, okay, that's maybe not quite how I view myself, but that's interesting. That's how my client feels about me. And it's actually less about, and even though I'm then projecting, oh, that means I have to be all of this. So then there's a projection that I put out there. I had to up to what my client has put towards me, but also, I was going to say more importantly, but it's not more importantly, both are important. What's actually happening with my client there? What's that story that they have about me, but what does that mean about them? And I was recently working with my supervisor, and I don't 100%, I'm just playing with it at the minute, and I'm not going to remember the name of the book, but they sort of said often when somebody is projecting something onto you, it's almost like they're having you hold their gold. And what they mean by holding their gold, it's something that lives in them, but they're not able to live into that yet. So they're having hold and projecting that onto you. But you keep it for them until they grow and are able to take their gold back. So
interesting, very interesting. Yeah. And also that attempt to meet that expectation of that projection, right? That's so painful.
Dangerous, right?
At their interest, not at our interest. And it also affects our own authenticity, who we are being authentically. And we are like kind of in a confusion. We know this is who we are supposed to be, but this kind of a projection like makes us to think, do I have to be that or this or how, when, what? So thank you so much for sharing that so authentically. And that's who Kerry is since I've been knowing Kerry, I think since 2017, if I'm not mistaken, 2016 or 17. Yeah. So she's also one of my mentors. So I'm really grateful to hold this space. And I like to you to let the audience know about the topic that you're going to talk about in the social conference and why is it so important for them to attend and also create more awareness and try to be like these trees where they have all the freedom and can be their authentic self.
Yeah, I love that. You have me thinking about the trees and an authentic self and freedom. I think freedom comes, isn't it, with us having more awareness of what's happening with us and in the systems that we're part of. So yeah, with the session that I wanted to lead is around, how does the metaphor of family show up in our relationships, whether that is with our family or with our friendships, and also in team as well. So often I do a lot of team coaching, and often teams say, oh, but we were a family then, and we want to be more of a family now. Or they might say, oh my goodness, we're like a family that's fighting all the time. So I keep hearing family inside of team, but family everywhere. So family is often our first team. And being able to lean into that metaphor of family, and what does family mean, and what is the story that we tell ourselves about family, and how is that influence how we project onto different members of the systems that we're part of, and then ends up creating our behavior and our results, and the energy that it takes in there. So with us being able to spend some time to play and explore how this metaphor of family shows up in our life, and what projections might be showing up and come with that. So I imagine that we'll have each of us sort of really dial into one of the systems or relationships that we're part of and explore metaphor how projections are showing up. And again, like the unexamined life is not worth living, this little statement. If we lean into it, I mean, of course life's worth living, but if we lean into it and bring some more awareness to what's going on, we'll be able to, like, if there's a little shift or a different metaphor that's more valuable, that might actually support, then I hope to give some shifts or some movement to all of us as we play together.
Wonderful, wonderful. Kerry, I can't just imagine how many things just came to my intuition when you were talking about these things. Like, I was thinking of this organization where they call themselves, we have a culture like a family. Yeah. Okay, now what's really happening there? What are the projections that's being present, and how many of them actually have had a good family for them to feel that I want to be a part of the family, but maybe that's not what they want. And on the other hand, the couples, the challenges that couples have, and within the family, the projections on parenting, and also the entrepreneurs, small SME entrepreneurs I'm talking about. Sometimes when you have this family business, the projections you have from the dad to the son. And I can see this in so many places. So I warmly, wholeheartedly invite, maybe you're part of an organization, maybe you're a family member, or maybe you're from an SME, small and medium enterprise business or family-owned business, or just you are working to think, how can I shift the culture of the organization? Whoever you could be, I can definitely tell you this conversation is going to be rich and useful to you. And I look forward to see you there with wonderful Kerry very soon. And until then, we would like to sign up for now.